Google recently released an AI generation tool that I think is going to be very disruptive in the photo editing space. Today, I'm just going to cover it. I'm not endorsing it or talking against it. I just want to share the information because I think for many photographers out there, this could be the tool they've been waiting for. And for others, this could be something that may be upsetting. So I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you think about AI being able to do stuff that I'm going to demonstrate in today's video. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the computer. So for those of you who may not be familiar, Google released Google Gemini a while ago, and we're going to be taking a look at this AI tool that's inside of Google Gemini. It is available in other places. I'm not going to cover where all of those other places are. There are plenty of YouTubers that are covering that. I just kind of wanted to bring the general aspect of what the heck this tool is and give a few thoughts on where I think this is going to be disruptive and where I think it's also going to be a benefit to the photo editing space overall. That being said, I'm in my Google Gemini account. This is a paid account. From what I understand, you can use this in a free account over on Google Gemini. So if you don't want to pay for Google Gemini like I do, then you can still get access to this. It'll be at, I think there's a limit to how many images you can process. Again, I don't know all the technicalities behind what you can and can't do as far as generation limitations, but what I do know is how to use the tool, and that's kind of what I wanted to demonstrate here. That being said, on the right side of my screen, I have an image that I took with my iPhone a few years ago of my Canon EOS R6 sitting on a tree stump. And I just took this with my iPhone. All right. Nothing fancy, just a quick snapshot. I told Google after I dropped it in here, I told Google, hey, place this camera on a shelf in a camera store. And this is what it generated for me. I think this is amazing and scary at the same time. I think that is really cool that it was able to create a look and put my camera, taking it off of the tree stump and putting it into a camera store and literally making it look like it was actually sitting there. That is really, really hard work to do. I am appalled, or not appalled, I'm amazed at how well this worked. Right now, it's not perfect because if you look at this camera over here, it says Sony on it, and the red ring is mostly known for Canon lenses. So a Canon lens on a Sony is not unheard of, but probably not going to be the case at a camera store. All in all, though, this looks really, really good. All right. It even knew that it needed to put these little spec sheets next to the cameras. And what I'll also point out is it changed the orientation of the camera. So if you look at it, we're looking at a lot of the front lens element here of the camera. And the camera is also more evenly or like parallel to the ground. If I go back to the original, the camera's kind of pointing downward, and we also don't see that much of the front lens element. And you can also see that the orientation of the camera in the source image is not the same as the orientation of the camera in the final image. So I think that it does a really, really good job. Outside of the inconsistencies here, the only way that you can really tell that this was generated by AI without like super deep diving is on Google Gemini. As of right now, you get this watermark, but this watermark, it's semi-transparent, and it's easy to remove in most photo editing applications on the market right now. So I'm not even sure why they thought that was going to be some sort of protection over the image generation. So, I think that this is something to be concerned about for people who may want to be manipulative and create stuff that is not actually true and then pass it off as if it were. And that is my concern, especially in the journalism space. I know that most photojournalists likely will not do something like that. However, there are the bad actors out there that would do something where they generate something that isn't true or real, remove the watermark, and then pass it off as if that was the real story. So that's one of my concerns when I see uh, AI generation tools like this that are easily accessible and they do a great job. All right. Uh, the next image here, I just took this photo in my backyard. Again, nothing special, off of my iPhone. I told it to place the camera at the base of a mountain during sunrise with fog in the distance. And this is what it came up with. I didn't give it a whole lot of information, but it just took my camera, cut it out of the old photo, and put it into this one. And I actually really like this. I think that this is realistic. I would probably see myself in a situation like this if I were to go hiking or camping and wake up early morning for a sunrise photo shoot. Again, you get the watermark down here in the bottom right. That's the only way that you could really tell that this isn't real. There's a slight resolution difference from the foreground element to the background element, but that's okay. Like there are some things that you can definitely get away with and people would never pay attention, especially people who have no idea about what actually goes into resolution for images. Like if they just look at the image and they're not analyzing it, they'll believe that I was actually there or this camera was in this space, even though it wasn't. Now, where I think it's going to get the most disruptive is right here is just a quick snapshot of some ice cream I was picking up. I wanted to make sure I had the right ice cream, so I snapped a photo in my phone and I sent this over to my wife just to make sure I was picking up the right ice cream. And I found this photo, so I said, hey, you know what? I think this is where it's going to be the most disruptive is in the marketing space. So I gave it a prompt here just saying remove the background, replace it with peanuts over an orange background. Think of this as an advertisement for the ice cream. Remove the hand from the frame as well. And this is what it spit out. You can literally make advertising images. And this isn't anything that's like completely new, but what's different here is look at the shadow. It knew that it needed to give some sort of dimensionality in the image to give reference to the fact that this is floating in the frame. And that is really hard to achieve. Like, even if a person were creating this, like most people know, like, hey, you have to have shadows in order to add dimension into an image. But this right here was created by a machine. And it knew that there needed to be shadow if it was going to just cut out the product and place it over a background. Need to give it some sort of dimension. And it gave it so well, like it blends in. It has a feather around the shadow there. And the only way that you would know that this is a AI generated image is if this watermark stayed on there. But that's pretty easy to get rid of. So that's pretty crazy. Now, I'm going to show one last example, and then I want to hear your comments down in the comment section. What do you think about AI generated tools like this? Do you think that this is exciting, or do you think it will be just as disruptive as I think that creating an AI generated advertisement like this, which I think that this is also an opportunity because this lowers the barrier to entry for so many people who want to break into the product photography space. Now, my channel, I don't focus so much on the business side of photography, but I do run a photography business, and product photography is one of those things that I was thinking about branching into. And I'm by no means saying that I would use the AI to do this, but for someone who just wants to be able to generate an ad or something that can be used on social media for marketing purposes, I don't see why this would be an issue. I think that it will be a threat for those who are creating the images in camera and then going into Photoshop and spending all the time, unless they do the same thing and save them a little bit of time and energy. I don't know. You let me know what your thoughts are about that in the comment section. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Now, the last example, this is just a quick snapshot, selfie photo of the family and I. And I just told it to brighten the image and to give me a short black beard and give the girl in the frame some purple sunglasses. So this is what it generated. Now, I'm not fond of the beard that it gave me. I'm not overly I'm not going to overly critique that, right? Because I didn't give it like clear instructions of the beard. But in my mind, because I know that that's not how my beard grows in, I can't see myself having a beard like this. It does look fake. But for someone who didn't know how my beard actually grows in, you would probably look at this and be like, oh, okay, that's a dude with a beard. Like if you had never seen me without a beard, or if you've never seen me grow my beard, then you would think that's exactly what I would look like with a beard. And then the sunglasses, I think they look just fine. Like this is unfortunately and possibly fortunately, I don't know. You let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. But for me, I get a little bit of angst about seeing things like this that look so well, because I don't know what's going to be real and what's going to be fake. And I think that that's going to be the bigger issue moving into this space. The last thing that I want to show you, because I did work on a few more images here, but I want to show you, you can use raw images with Google Gemini and this Apple Banana or whatever this image tool name is. I think it's called Nano Banana. I think that's the name. Not important right this second. I'm going to go ahead and grab this image that I photographed while I was at the zoo in Central Park. And I'm just going to drop this raw image right into the editor here. And I'm just going to say, replace the background with a waterfall. Okay, we'll hit return and let's see what happens, because right now the bird is perched on a little bowl that has bird feed in it or seed or whatever. And these are some tropical birds, so a waterfall would make sense. And I just want to see what it would look like with this bird sitting in front of a waterfall. I think that that would look pretty decent. So we'll let Google think this self through, and then I'll speed up the video to that point when it is complete. It does take a little bit of time, but not nearly as long as it would to create. Look at that. I didn't even speed up the video. And here is what it looks like. Now, is it perfect? No. I think this one does not look as realistic as the camera example that I gave. But I mean, if this is what you were going for, this is the original, and this is what Google generated. If you're just looking at this at a glance, it does look like the bird is a little AI generated, even though that came from a real photo. But if you're just glancing at this really quickly, I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference. So there's Google Nano Banana. Definitely do some research if you're interested in like all of the technical specs behind it. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the photo editing space, especially the viewers of this channel, just because I think we're going to see stuff like this in photo editing software in the future. But the problem and the challenge or concern that I have is there's going to be people who make things that don't look real, and they don't give a disclaimer that it's been enhanced with AI or it's not a real image. It wasn't actually shot that way. And to some degree, I think we've been doing this with sky replacements. But, you know, replacing a sky is not as dangerous as changing the overall outcome, causing conflict, like saying something dangerous happened, and for the sake of the algorithm and stuff, something dangerous happened, and it was actually not something that was dangerous at all. Someone just snapped a photo with their iPhone, put it into one of these AI editors, and made a hoax image, and then publish that as essentially false news. That's my concern for tools like this. But on the creative side, and for people who are just using it internal to their own personal catalogs, or are going to tell people like, hey, I generated this with AI. This isn't real. This is just a creative outlet, stuff like that. Like if there's a disclaimer of the image before it goes out, or when it goes out, I think that that's going to be different. And that's going to be a very difficult space to navigate, especially as stuff like this gets better. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you excited for tools like this? Are you concerned for tools like this? Am I overthinking this? I just want to start a conversation because this is going to impact those of us who are photographers, and we want to capture real things. And I do have a theory about where photography is headed in away from the direction of AI, stuff like this, and how we are going to have to increase our abilities as photographers. And it literally has nothing to do with the end result of the image. I think photographers have to get better at building relationships with people and providing experiences, something that AI can't do. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.